Hello, hello, hello. I just love that intro music. Like every time I hear it, I want to just kind of jam a little bit. And I have no rhythm. So it's funny that I would even make the attempt to move. But my name is Tiffany Bell, and I am here to welcome you to the CEO Corner. As always, we are bringing to you all some really interesting people, female CEOs from all around the world are doing really great things to make a difference not only in their little corner of the world, but are looking to really help people all out. So with that, I want to make sure that we do what we always do, which is introduce one of our book projects. And so we have Affirmations for a Woman on the Move. It's 39 women that have come together with their favorite power statement, their favorite scripture, their favorite business quote, their favorite affirmation, of which they have personally used. They have all had an experience where they've had to, go through some challenges and really, really, really dig down deep, refocus their mind, do some self-reflection, and then put a plan together so they can keep moving forward. Hence, affirmations of a woman on the move. All right, so it's 39 women here again. It's 76 days worth of power packed affirmations that can really help you not only get motivated, but to keep you moving so that you are able to reach your goals. You want to make sure you pick a copy of this up. Actually, we have two affirmation journals. But the one that affirmations for a woman on the move, you want to go to uncommoncourage.cc / affirm women. Again, uncommoncourage.cc affirm women. Our guest today, whenever you go to that page, you'll be able to see her beautiful face and get to know a little bit more about her. But for the time being, let me take a second out and introduce her. You're going to enjoy our talk. All righty. So up for today, we have Nicole Freeman Kirkland. She is a certified public accountant who's worked in the accounting and tax profession for over 23 years. She currently operates her CPA practice by the Numberz, spelled with a Z, in her coaching business, which is called the Profit-Ista. Hopefully I'm saying that right. The Profit-Ista, right? She also serves as CFO for two nonprofit organizations. Her passion and purpose is to work with business owners to make their businesses profitable, sustain growth, operate operate efficiently and achieve bankable results. Now, who doesn't want bankable results? So welcome to the show today, Nicole Freeman Kirkland.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be here.
All right. We are excited to have you. So excited to have you. We all love money.
Yes.
But we don't all know how to manage it well. But when it comes to running a business, it is key that that where your money's coming from, where it's going out, and then everything that happens in between the in and the out of your funds. And so that is your lane. But before we get into that, I would like for you to tell our audience just a little bit about Nicole. Like, one, where are you located? Two, what do you do? What does life look like when you are not crunching numbers, when you're not coaching people, with their business finances?
Okay. I am located in Detroit, Michigan. Detroit. So yes, I'm in Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, it's cold there, if I'm not mistaken.
It's cold here. Like 20 degrees cold here. Yes. So in my pastime, let's see. Because it's tax season, I don't even know what free time looks like.
Yeah, you're right about that. That's true.
But I like to roller skate. I like to read books, especially affirmation. What else do I like to do? I don't know, sit and watch a movie, just have quiet time because I'm always moving. You know how we tend to just like to have that moment of quiet. That's our time. So yeah,
I must admit, I do enjoy letting my mind like free float whenever I need to de-stress. I need to have some noise on in the background, and even my mind will float with ease even at the sound of a lawnmower. Certain noises just kind of soothe me, and so whenever I need to de-stress, I could just, whether it's a TV or radio, I just need noise. Noise helps me to relax, and I think that sounds a little odd, but that is quirky things about Tiffany Bell. All
Okay.
right. So tell us, how did you get into the financial arena? How did what made you decide you want to become a financial coach?
Well, so the background of it starts with being an accountant. So when I was in high school, you know how you have that class where they present to you all these careers, and this beautiful Black woman stood up, and she just looked amazing to me. And her job was a CPA, and she explained what she did. And at that moment, I became an accountant. I started doing taxes for my friends in school, messing them up, but I was doing the taxes, so I was an accountant. So, you know, with that, going to college for it and all that, getting into the CPA realm, working in public accounting, I just had a desire to help small business owners. And so that kind of shifted me into doing my practice, working with small business owners and their accounting and tax needs, and then shifting to more the business owner, helping them understand their business. And that's where the coaching comes in, because they're great at what they do. You know, they choose this industry to go into for their business and they're great at it. But the other side of it is understanding your books, understanding your financials so that you can grow the business. And that's where a lot of businesses suffer.
Okay, cool. So that leads straight into my next question. What do you find are common errors that for-profit industries? I know that you also serve with nonprofits. I want to focus on the for-profit entities first, and then I want to hear just a little bit as well as nonprofits. But what do you find are common errors or concerns that the individuals have that you work with?
So the common factor is, one, they don't have financial statements. You know, they're running their business, they're seeing their tax preparer at the end of the year, and they're compiling all their receipts at that time, and that's it. So they don't know how the business is performing. They don't know what their costs are, if they're exceeding their costs. They don't know, what the financial statements are really saying about their business, because financial statements will tell you from A to Z what things need to change for your business if you understand them. And they're not complex. It's just a matter of sitting with someone and getting an understanding. So I find that is the most challenging, because when it's time to go for a lender or, to seek an investor, they don't know how to present their financials or how to explain how their business is doing. So that's what I find is the most significant error.
I would imagine that last year, 2020, when the pandemic first rolled out, and even now there's still, opportunities for small business owners to apply for, different funding sources that, the SBA and different things are offering. I'm assuming that business for you probably definitely spiked in regard to helping them to prep and get ready for that.
There's a funny story with that. My whole tax season had to shut down for a month because I had so many people needing financials for PPP, SBA, EIDL loans here. And it consumed me. I just had to stop doing taxes for a minute and prepare that. So yes, definitely a spike.
Okay. Wow. And so nonprofit wise, what do you find that your nonprofits are having issues with, or, the commonalities between them? What are their, when it comes, of course, with nonprofits, they have a bit, what I consider to be more stringent rules and regulations that they need to have in regard to their annual reporting, not just to the IRS, but, their Secretary of State. So kind of talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the number one thing I run into with nonprofits is this belief that nonprofits can't be profitable. The word is have positive net assets. How about that? But that is a misconception, because at the end of the day, the nonprofits, more so than for-profit, need dollars to keep the organization going. So helping CEOs understand that concept is not correct, and focusing more so on ways that they can go outside of the grant portion of funding and look at program income. What can we do? What other services can you provide? Just to kind of change the unrestricted to the restricted, you know what I mean? Because when you're big funding, it's kind of restricted to what that purpose is versus having other sources of income. So that's the hardest thing that I find working with CEOs, getting them to have that understanding.
So if a nonprofit decided that they wanted to create a product as a way to fundraise, like talk to them just a little bit about some of the things that they need to be mindful of as far as having income that at this point is taxable. Kind of talk a little bit around that.
Well, keep in mind that it If it falls in line with the mission,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that is the key. If it falls in line with the mission, it does not have to be taxable.
Okay.
Okay. It's only if, and I like to give the example of a church that has, I don't know, a home next to it that they rent out for people. Okay.
Gotcha.
that home would be considered outside of their mission, and that would be considered taxable income. Okay. But if they have a hall inside the church, right, that they use for weddings, I mean, they're a church. That's part of the ministry, right? So you just have to figure out what's going to be taxable and what's not going to be not taxable. And even if it is taxable, the rate that's applied to charitable organizations is not quote unquote like a corporate organization. You know what I mean? So just sitting with an accountant and kind of, planning out strategically what that would look like, they'd be very surprised and not fearful of having that additional income.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I love that. So whenever you sit down with some of your coaching clients, like where do you guys normally start at? What's your process in regard to helping them to kind of look to see where they're at and how they're performing? Kind of talk a little bit around that for me.
Yeah, so there's two levels. So there's the level of just starting out, okay? That's the level of I have no idea what I'm doing. Help me get my books together. So at that point, I'm setting up the accounting system for them. And I kind of like that point because it's the basis, it's the foundation. And from there, we're just going up, right?
There's no cleanup.
There's right.
They're not having to clean up. That part within itself would drive me crazy.
Yes. And so the second level is that nonprofit that's been in business 2 to 5 years or so, and they have accounting system set up, but it's not working. So I'm coming in, I'm saying, where are we now? What does your system look like now? And where do we need to go? Right. And that process takes about 6 months, right, for us to kind of turn things around and see those guaranteed results that I promise. So that's how that works.
Okay. And so is that the same regardless of whether or not they are for-profit or nonprofit?
Yeah. It's, for-profit, nonprofit, not too much different accounting wise. They're different financial reporting wise, but not too much accounting wise.
Okay. So, actually that was something I wanted to ask you a little earlier on, just because, again, never know who's out there listening. What are the major differences between a for-profit and a nonprofit when it comes to finances? Just for the, for the general person who just doesn't have a clue, like when they think nonprofit, they probably just think, free services, but financially, what does that really mean?
Okay. So for the for-profit, it's capitalistic. So whatever services you want to provide, whatever products you want to provide, is free will. You can just kind of do what you want to do, and that income coming in has no restrictions whatsoever. The expenses that you incur, with business, corporate, anything business related is pretty much deductible. Okay. So the goal of a for-profit is to, for tax purposes, not have to pay so much tax. For financial purposes, for financial reporting, they want to show nice profits. Okay. On the nonprofit side, the income is a little bit different. Like it's going to be more grant-based, it's going to be more foundation-based, and it's going to have restrictions on what you can spend it on. So they have to be mindful of how they're spending the money versus just, free willing it, doing what they need to do. And at the end, they're not so much interested in a profit in terms of taxes because there's no tax consequence to the owner. It's, tax free. So just a little different in how things are considered for financial reporting and tax purposes, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Brief, short.
Oh yeah, that's brief and short, but it's to the point, which I definitely like. Nonprofit wise, for people who are not aware, the profits from a nonprofit are essentially just put right back into the organization itself towards its program services. The money really goes to help the community or to help to solve a problem. And the for-profit people, for the most part, the profits at the end, the goal is to pocket as much as possible as the owner, as the investor. They're able to, they're able to stuff their pockets at the end of their profits for the end of the year. So again, that's just for individuals who are not aware. One more question I want to pose to you, Nicole. And then we're gonna transition out of the particulars here. But for individuals that own a for-profit business, right? Could you talk to them a little bit about the advantages, or there's advantages, but then also talk to them a little bit about some of the precautions of adding a nonprofit leg to their for-profit industry.
Okay, that's not want to say that's fairly new, but more for-profit entities are bringing that on. Okay, so the thing to think about with that is just definitely segregation of the two. Okay, the IRS, or pretty much anybody involved, is going to be very concerned about commingling of funds between the two. All right, so when you set them up, you want to have very I'm looking at my hands because I'm trying to draw a picture for myself, but very strict
You're fine.
Guidelines on how you're going to operate. And if you're sharing resources, if you're sharing rental space, if you're sharing staff, you just want to be very mindful and having a system set up that strictly divides the two. Because if you're ever questioned IRS wise or, funding source wise, you want to be able to strictly show that they're two very separate things. And I think that's the biggest highlight of the two. Just realize that they're separate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so what would the advantage to that for-profit, it's a for-profit industry, what would be the advantage to them to actually, to even add the nonprofit?
Well, so the advantage from the mindset of this nonprofit leg it's tax exempt, right? So the activities that flow through there, the mission of that, they don't have to worry about that additional tax bill, and they can still do whatever that mission or purpose is for the organization. Whereas on the profit side, you have to be mindful of that. If you're a corporation, especially that 21% of profit is going to be taxable. So the benefit of it is just kind of spreading your business, your mission, or whatever you are involved in doing over to this nonprofit side that releases taxable consequences. If that makes sense. And you're doing something great for the community, whatever that mission is, and promoting your brand, your name, in a different way.
Yep. And the first thing that comes to mind, this is not an and, but this is just kind of backing up what I feel like you said. For those that have a for-profit business, if there are people who come to your organization that would like to be serviced, however they're challenged financially, technically those are the people that you could send through your nonprofit, and be able to take to provide service to them without necessarily charging. It's kind of dependent on how that nonprofit is set up, but that's it gives you an opportunity to do some charitable work like you mentioned before, but still not necessarily be but they'll still take advantage of some of the tax opportunities there. So all of that definitely is great. So what I want to do now, though, we've talked a lot about numbers, and our audience can definitely see that you know what you're talking about. So for those of you who are out there that want a financial coach, you want to make sure that you connect with her, and we'll talk to you a little bit about that at the end. But really, what I want to transition is back to our affirmation book, right? And so with this, you contributed, I believe, 5 different affirmations, right? And so I want to give you an opportunity to share one of your affirmations, and then I would like for you not only to share what it is, but then kind of talk to the audience, or talk to the woman or the lady out there that's listening, and explain to her how that affirmation can be applied to her personally. Even talk about your own self and how that affirmation has made a difference in your own mindset, specifically where finances are concerned, because that's your lane, right? And then we're going to transition into giving them an opportunity to purchase a journal directly from you, as well as to work with you as a financial coach. So, take a few minutes. The floor is yours.
No, thank you. Okay, so my affirmation is, I respect money, therefore I attract it. And I chose this because, as we know, whatever your passion is, whatever your field of study is, whatever you desire to do business-wise, tends to be where your challenge is in life, okay, at some point. And so for me, this was something that I had to learn very quickly because of a situation I was in. But this affirmation really helped me transfer my life, if you will. I was at a point where I really wasn't respecting money. When I say respect money, I'm speaking from the standpoint of honoring it, understanding where it comes from, understanding where it needs to go, but more so where I wanted it to go. Okay. The amount of money I wanted to make in my practice, the amount of money it took me to plan my future, make sure my daughter was okay if something happened to me or my family in general. And just looking at all those aspects and putting it into a box of understanding. And then when I say respect it, that means that I'm paying attention to it. I'm doing those principles that are in place to help me attain it. And so that's what I mean by I respect money, therefore I attract it. Because what I found was when I put all these things into place, the money began to come, the clients began to come, the opportunities began to open up for me. And then it had to become, that understanding and that discipline to do what I set out to do with the money now that is coming. So that's where the respect of money comes from. I also looked into 3 different areas that allowed me to show that respect toward money. The first was purpose, understanding what you're called to do, why you want to do it, and your why, because that's going to be very essential as you build whatever that business is or whatever that goal is financially, understanding your why, because there are going to be times where you're not going to want to do it. There's going to be times where you don't feel like it's working. So your why has to kick in. And then protecting your assets, protecting your business. Do you have a trademark? Are you protecting your brand? And even just small things in terms of life insurance. Do you have life insurance in case something happens to you? Do you have someone to speak for you regarding your healthcare matters, your financial matters, if something happened to you? So just making sure that things are in place to protect what you've built. Okay. And then the last one is profits. And I put profits because when you're in business and you have your business entity set up, you don't always understand what that means or how that affects your business tax-wise and accounting-wise. So just getting an understanding of your actual business entity, the pros and cons and how to make it work for you. And then understanding your business overall, how to make profits in your business. Why aren't you seeing profits? And if you are seeing profits, how to keep going to continue to see those profits. And when I say profits, I don't mean the bottom line in your account, on your financials. I mean the bottom line in your bank that's bankable for you to, take your income from, to live off of, to do those things that you plan to do. So those are the 3 areas: purpose, protection, and profits. And that's what I kind of focus on in my financial coaching. And that is pretty much where that affirmation came from. I respect money, therefore I attract it.
Love it, love it, love it. I laughed earlier before we actually came on to to begin to record. She and I were talking about not being one, like neither one of us have a lot of words. We are bottom line people. So to be perfectly honest with you, it's a stretch for me, as I'm listening, it's kind of coming up whatever the questions that I think the audience, like you guys might want to hear, mind you, but it was really great, Nicole. Like, when you get into your zone, and you have no problem. So, finances is your thing, and I can hear it and I can feel it. And so I just wanted to give you a high five from, Gulfport, Mississippi there to Detroit, Michigan, because that was a job well done. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I mean, honestly, very great points in regard to the respecting of money. And then, of course, knowing your purpose, the protection that comes behind it, sticking to your why. Those are all very valuable points. Truth, to be perfectly honest with you, that's all what she's doing is just laying the truth out. When we live by truth, that we will reap the rewards of of living by truth. And so thank you again for sharing that. Now, if one of our audience members would like to have the opportunity to be able to talk to you, to be able to work with you, how would they connect?
Sure. So my website is www. Got to look down.
It's okay. Feel free. It's on the screen for you, actually.
Great. Yep. So Profit-Ista.com.
Okay. All right. So the Profit-Ista.com. We also laughed a little earlier. I'm telling you, I'll get the name up in a heartbeat. I don't mean to, but
Yeah. It took me a minute. It took me a minute to get used to it too.
So tell me, where did the name come from?
Crazy story, right? So I knew I wanted to birth this financial coaching, and I knew I needed a name that would capture what I do, what my focus would be, you know what I mean? And you know how hard that can be to come up. So I'm driving down to Florida with my husband in the car. We just driving. And I just thought about it like my goal is for businesses to be profitable, right? And then it was just like, oh, Profit-Ista. And then I just
Yeah, I love it. It reminds me of, what's that? What do you call the girls that, it's not a girl, but, a barista? Coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
You serving the coffee. They're serving the coffee, but you're serving the education as it pertains to being able to, just have healthy finances. And so again, this has been really good. So we do have a couple more minutes. Is there anything coming up that you'd like to be able to share with our audience as far as your platform is concerned?
Sure. So I am creating I don't want to call it a masterclass, if you will, for business owners. And I'm going to take from A to Z, like accounting 101. Okay. I'm going to break it all down. You're going to have access to me, ask tons of questions. And I'm looking to release that in the fall after tax season. So if they go to the website, there's an area where they can sign up to get information when it's ready to launch. And I'm excited about it. I'm hoping to get 200.
Okay. All right. I would love to be able to help you promote that. So just make sure that we connect before once you get to the part where you're actually getting ready to launch. I'd love for actually you can come back on and we can talk a little bit more about it as a way to getting people, for them to know and be able to connect with you. And as far as, so for that masterclass, is that for profit and nonprofit, or primarily for profit and individuals, businesses?
It will work for both. It will work for both.
Okay, very good. All right. So social media wise, are you on social media?
Yes, I am on Facebook and Instagram. So you call it IG.
Okay. All righty. So there's her profile. If you guys want to connect with Nicole, feel free to. And again, Nicole, this has been wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed getting to know you. I wish you the best of luck in regard to your masterclass in the fall. And, may the Lord bless you and keep you to survive tax season. I know we're, you're you're halfway through. You got to go through at least, what is it, May? When the things kind of where taxes are concerned begin to wind down to where you're just dealing with the regular maintenance.
The deadline is April 18th, but I usually have a bunch that extend and then they want to get right on it in May. So it's nonstop, but it's okay. It's what I do. So
Gotcha. All righty. So again, if you all want to connect with Nicole on social media, she is the Profit-Ista. Feel free to connect with her there or there on her website, which is on the screen again. It's www.theprofitista.com. Hopefully I didn't slaughter it that time around. All right. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. It's been wonderful again to hear and to learn more about Nicole. I will see you all next week. Again, the CEO Corner is all about encouraging. Oh, you know what? I was about to close out without telling them one more time to connect with you for a copy of the journal.
Sure.
We cannot do that. So again, you want to go to so is it on your website as well?
It's on the
all right. Let's put Nicole's website on the screen. You guys can buy this directly from theprofitista.com. And then you can go there to purchase a copy of it. Again, it's 76 days of affirmations, dealing with all subjects. Some deal with just having a healthy mind in regard to dealing with fear. Some deal with finances, as Nicole has presented today. Look, we got to her twinsies. But basically, if you are a woman who is definitely determined that this year you are going to stay focused and you're going to not only adapt a new mindset, but you're going to work and do everything that you can in order to stick with it, then our affirmations for a woman on the move affirmation journal is going to be the thing for you. So again, thank you again, Nicole, for joining me today. And I will see you guys next week. Y'all take care.